My name's Dave Dubeau, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey gang. Haven't spoken to anybody in the mobile home space for a while. That's changing today. Our special guest zooming in is Frank Rizzo, and Frank is all about mobile homes. In fact, he's got a podcast all about this. He's got a community all about this. He is all things manufactured homes and communities. So Frank, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Dave, thank you so much for having me. Glad to be part of this program.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning a little bit. Just define for me and for the audience, what is your definition of a manufactured home park? Or is that what we're talking about here, a trailer park? Basically.
Correct. I mean, the textbook definition is trailer park. We tend to look at them as manufactured housing communities. Trying to reverse the stigma people have of trailer parks. I mean, essentially, they're communities where people own manufactured homes, and we're looking to bring a lot of these blighted communities back to life, kind of restore them either to their former glory and create some great housing, affordable housing options for the people we serve.
Yeah. So I can say Canadians have done a lot for the mobile home community space since Trailer Park Boys came out many years ago. They've given the whole thing a bad fashion, that's for sure. So unfortunately, that's kind of the image a lot of people have when they think about manufactured home communities. Nothing could be further from the truth from a lot of them that I've seen, that's for sure. So maybe tell us a little bit about what the reality is of these kind of communities, and maybe paint the picture of what are you looking for, and how do you improve, or what do you do with these communities once you buy them?
So, and I have watched that program, Dave, just full disclosure. And look, at the end of you hit the nail on the head though. They're communities, and what they are is affordable housing communities. As a matter of fact, they are the most affordable housing option people have across the country. And it creates a pathway for home ownership for people that enjoy community living. At the end of the day, Dave, humans are social animals. They want to be around other people. And for us, we look for, cities, counties where we see that there's an affordable housing need, and there's a community that might be blighted, that maybe it's multi-generational, and it's not being run professionally. It's being run out of convenience to the owner, maybe not to the resident. That has defense maintenance or capital improvements that need to be made. And where we step in is we can go in there, make those improvements to elevate the community, bringing in the infrastructure, the needed infrastructure improvements, elevating the standards and the culture inside of that, and forcing appreciation for both the stakeholders and the residents, and creating really, or addressing the need of affordable housing in the cities and the counties that we operate in.
Okay. Maybe, first things first, what does the portfolio currently consist of? How many communities are you involved in at the moment?
Yeah.
Let's start there.
We currently own 14 communities.
Having a little challenge with the mic right now.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. We currently own 14 communities throughout the Southeast. We're in Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Our typical community size is about 80 lots inside of that. Our biggest one is 271. Our smallest community is about 50 lots. And typically we look to be in markets where we see that there's an affordable housing need. And the crazy thing about this space is you can have a community that has a housing shortage, and then you have these communities with empty lots, which means that just by bringing in a home, we can help address and fill that need.
Okay, so maybe paint the picture of your favorite success story to date out of these 14 different communities, Frank. Kind of explain what it looked like before, how you got into it, and then what you guys did to the community, what it looks like today?
So if I had to go to my favorite community, it was probably very early on. My partner and I found a community that was a foreclosure in Byron, Georgia. 89 pad community, and we were green in the business. I mean, we knew the market. I had been there before. This was me and my partner's second park together, my third park, and I had, familiar with the area, familiar with the market. We step into this community, and literally it was every bad connotation you had of a trailer park, worse than you would see on and maybe any TV show that you've been watching. Decrepit homes, had a 12-foot prison fence right in front of the basketball courts. Roads were bad. The good people were inside. The bad people were outside. And we had to turn that community around, from the ground up. And
so, sorry, when you mean the bad people are outside, what do you mean?
Well, when we first rolled up into that community, there was one home in the front where there was a lot of drug activity, and basically where they were camped out, and they were all outside. And there was one guy who was on a bike would circle around and traffic to 5 homes that were inside the community. And that was the first thing we had to eliminate. We had to make sure that was gone, because once you walked into that community, you saw it was a very imposing presence if you were looking to live there. So we had to change that look and feel. And I guess the most heartwarming listen, you're in this because obviously there's a need, you're serving the market, and there's an opportunity there. But I would tell you that the most heartwarming story of all, Dave, is a year after we acquired the park. When we're down there, there was a ice cream truck with a gaggle of kids chasing it around the park, where the year before it was the drug dealer circling the park at 5 different homes on a bike. So when you do that and you realize that, hey, not only am I making an investment, for a return, but I'm also having an impact and changing people's lives along the way. That's rewarding in a lot of different levels. And I think that's one of the key components of what we do. And I think that helps with our why and keep us motivated to all the challenges you're going to face in any business that you're in.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com.
So there's 1,000 different ways to invest in real estate, Frank. Why did you pick mobile home parks in addition to the altruistic side of things? So from the business model side of things, what do you like the most about mobile home parks?
So it came about quite by accident. It wasn't something that, growing up in Brooklyn, New York, which is not a hotbed of mobile home park investing, and living in,
I'm thinking they're few and far between in New York. Yeah.
So it's not a hotbed of mobile home park investing.
Yeah.
There's mobile home parks there. But I was, in my real estate career, which spans over, now almost 3 decades, I was working with a family, with their real estate assets, repositioning them. And as they were moving down south, because that's what happens when, New Yorkers retire, they move down south, they wanted my company to assist them to find something to replicate the income that they were going to be missing. And when I was in my research, what kept coming up as the highest yielding opportunities were these mobile home parks, which obviously knew nothing about. And the patriarch of the family mentioned to me, he was like, well, I'll only do this if you do it with me. And he wanted me to put my money where my mouth was. And, while we got involved, and I got involved in the first one, I saw that what was happening and how we did it and the success we had. I was like, this is something that we can duplicate. And having always been on the redevelopment side, whether it was through the spec work we did in purchasing distressed properties and looking for value add opportunities. There is nothing more when you can find a community like this. I mean, it's community development 101. So if you ever had that itch that I want to be part of a neighborhood turnaround and kind of see that happen, this kind of filled that bill, right? So it's something that we could see that turnaround effect, which is something that we're excited about, something that was a duplicatable process that we were able to put in place that we could scale a business around. And quite frankly, it's fun. I mean, what you do, you should love doing what you do. And we realized that as my partner and I, as we did this, we created the systems and processes in place. We could have that impact. We enjoyed what we were doing, and the returns were pretty good for us as well. So I think it checked all the boxes of what you want to check when you're looking to invest.
So you're 14 deals in at least. That's what you got in the portfolio right now. You might have exited a few over the years. It's obvious you're very passionate about this, Frank, and it's obvious that it does a lot of good as well when you turn around a community like this. But it definitely can't all be sunshine and roses. There must be some downside to this asset class. What would you say the downside is?
It's an interesting question because you're going to be hit with challenges straight across the board. Right. And I know I make it, make it sound like it's like you said, all rainbows and lollipops. But the reality is, this is ultimately a business, not about bricks and sticks. It's about people. So you're going to face challenges. And the number one thing I think people misread when they think about the mobile home park space in particular.
Yep.
The idea or the concept is if people own their homes and I own the land, right, they're going to pay me rent and I have very little to do. The reality is it's a very high touch point business. And the reason why people would stay in communities that maybe were substandard is because they felt an attachment to that community, to the people around or to the owner, right? And so it's maintaining that touch point with the resident so they could still have that community feel, even though we might not live down the road. And I think that's one of the challenges in terms of changing culture and creating that sense and feel. And it's always being able to work with the people that you have on the ground to make sure that those.
So property management is really what
correct. I mean, it's
the challenging part.
You have to be intimately involved with the manager. And I find that most operators and the top operators I know, they're all vertically integrated with the management company because it's such a distinct niche that you have to have a special know-how inside of this business to really make it work.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Very, very interesting. So one of the challenges I've heard over the years interviewing a few different folks in the space, Frank, is that although this is providing a huge, huge value for communities, affordable housing, which is the buzzword these days everywhere. Actually, most communities don't seem to be all that keen on mobile home parks. And some of them are actively trying to get them shut down. They certainly aren't making it easy to make any new ones. What's your take on all of that?
So interestingly enough, Dave, right? In an era where affordability is the number one topic at everybody's home, and the most affordable housing option we have in the country, every year they shut down more mobile home parks than they create. Because to your point, most communities do not want a mobile home park there. They'd rather have traditional multifamily housing. It's a higher tax base for them. It's less land, right? Concentrated. And of course, the stigma of the mobile home park.
Right.
So we do have to go in there and kind of combat some of what is already in somebody's head. And especially when you're taking over a older, maybe, less like community park in a town, you really have to work with the city officials or the county officials to let them know what you're doing and how you're doing it. it's gotten easier over time because we do have a book of business to show them, here's some of our wins, here's some of the before and afters. But to your point, most cities and towns have a stigma against the mobile home parks for one reason or another. And they do not want to make more of them. And depending on who you speak to, there's maybe between 44 and 45,000 parks nationwide in the United States. And that number is diminishing. So if it's the only asset class in real estate where they're literally not making any more of, right? So, there is a window of opportunity that you have before it's kind of closing out.
Very cool. So as the time that we're recording this, Frank, it's the end of 2025. What do you guys got on the books for the new year? What plans do you have on the horizon? So right now we're in our markets. We see the opportunity sets kind of opening up. And if you've looked at the real estate markets over the last 2 years, last 3 years now, you could see that transactional volume was down significantly, from previous, I'm not even pre-COVID levels, still down, 40 to 50%. There is a lot of pent up seller demand, and we're starting to see some real good opportunity sets open itself up again into this space. So for us, we feel that we've got a great opportunity to expand in the markets that we're in, and we're looking at a couple of different other key components to expand into the Midwest, where we still see, you still see the population growth happening. You've got great economies that are growing inside there. So there are some markets where there's some real value that you can find and still have some pretty good upside as well. Very cool. Very cool. So to expand like that, do you bring on partners? Do you syndicate deals? How do you raise capital for these kind of projects?
So, we originally started with friends and family, and through word of mouth, we were able to expand. Obviously from our original partners, we've grown our investor base. And so we do have partners who participate with us in our deals through either syndications. We did close out our first closed-end fund. So we do take on partners that work with us, and we've been fortunate enough to have some real key capital partners that have worked with us through the years. We're nearly a decade that we're into the space, and so that's allowed us to scale out this business and to really do some really impactful things on the ground.
Very cool, Frank. If people want to connect with you and find out more about what you guys are up to, where should they go?
They can find me at the mhpexchange.com. There they can find our podcast, which is the MHP Exchange podcast, where we'll talk about how we, walk through deals, some operational tips and tricks and things that'll happen, and just speak with other industry rock stars, really, to give some insight into the manufactured housing industry and why that's a really underlooked and underserved asset class.
Very cool. What's that URL again?
The mhpexchange.com.
Perfect. Frank, thanks very much for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Dave, thank you so much.
All right, everybody. See you on the next one.
Hey there. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.